Hello, I'm Melissa here with you on this afternoon update. Now, more than 1 in 10 people worldwide suffer from some form of lower back pain, and the number is only set to increase with an aging and growing population. So, what can you do to prevent lower back pain? Well, let's find out. We're joined now by Dr. Colum Nolan, Senior Consultant and Neurosurgeon from Oxford Spine. Hello, Dr. Nolan.
Hi, good afternoon, Melissa. Thanks for having me.
No, thank you for being on the show. Most of us suffer from, not most of us actually, many of us suffer from back pain. When should we go and get it checked out by a doctor or by a professional?
Yes, so I think, as you said, back pain is quite common. Thankfully, most of the time it resolves by itself with fairly simple measures like simple painkillers, maybe some stretching exercises, and thankfully it's usually not a serious underlying problem, and we don't normally need to go and get fancy investigations, MRI scans, things like that. So usually it might just be a simple back strain or something, but there are some scenarios where we should go and get it checked out. So there's sort of three broad categories. The first one would be if the pain is getting progressively more severe, more frequent, not really getting any relief when we rest, if our sleep is getting disturbed, or if we're waking up in the middle of the night due to the pain. So if there's a kind of a progressive thing, then something needs to be checked out. The second scenario would be if there's any associated sort of neurological symptoms, and this will be symptoms that might suggest there's some compression of the nerves, and that will be things like maybe sciatica, where you can get pain shooting down the leg, or maybe some tingling, pins, needles, or numbness that goes down the leg. And then in a small percentage of cases, people might have difficulty walking because they have weakness in the leg or problems with the balance. And then very rarely also it might disturb the bowel and bladder function. That would be the sort of second scenario that you might want to get checked out. And then the third scenario is when people have what we call red flags. So these are sort of symptoms that might suggest some underlying serious cause of the pain. So we would look at, if people have any history of trauma, so if they've had any injury to the back, there'd obviously be a higher risk of a fracture. And then if people are having sort of, loss of weight, loss of appetite, it may suggest that there's something serious underneath that there could be a cancer or something like that. And then older people who, the bones may be a bit weaker and more susceptible to osteoporosis and getting fractures. And then people who have like fever, people who are immunocompromised or things like that where there might be some infection. And then another important one then would be if people have had a history of cancer in the past and they have sort of this problem with back pain, it's good to get it checked out. Now, most of the time it won't turn out to be anything serious, but it's good to get it checked out.
Wow, thanks. You've covered actually a lot of ground there. You've been here 8 years in Singapore, right?
That's correct, yeah.
Yeah. Have you seen any kind of trend, emerging from the number of patients that you're seeing with back pain?
I think we are seeing more and more patients with back pain. I think particularly in the last couple of years with COVID, I think we have seen a lot more people coming in with back pain and neck pain. Why?
Why is that so?
I think during COVID, a lot of people were working from home. Their setup maybe at home wasn't as ideal in terms of their desks and chairs. And some people were more active during COVID, some people were less active, and then people weren't doing their normal sort of social and sporting activities, couldn't go to the gym, couldn't go swimming, things like that.
Right.
And then I suppose people, during COVID, some people got healthier, but some people, maybe their diet wasn't as good. People maybe drinking more, smoking more, stressed more.
Right.
A lot of factors.
Okay, a lot of factors to keep you in business.
Yes.
But in the past few months, we have seen COVID rules ease a lot, right?
Yes,
Are you seeing then, how would you say, a slowing down of the patients coming in?
I think so. Not everybody will come to see me with back pain. Most people won't go straight to a spine surgeon.
Sure.
So people will tend to maybe either go to their GP or polyclinic, or they may go for TCM treatment for some acupuncture, some massage, cupping, or they may go and see a physiotherapist or a chiropractor. I've spoken to a number of physiotherapists recently, and they said definitely during COVID, all the sports injuries that they were used to seeing dropped off a lot, and their clinics were full with patients with back and neck pain.
Now, I know that posture plays a large part, right, in know, the health of your back, right?
Yes.
They say that slouching is not good, etc., etc. But, there have been times when I'm sitting at the desk for a long time, and when I try to sit up straight for a prolonged period of time, that actually made me more tired. and I find that slouching again is actually more comfortable, and I had better stamina. So why is that?
Yeah, I mean, I think, everybody has to sort of pay some attention to their posture. I mean, some people find different postures more comfortable. I mean, our natural tendency is to slouch, I suppose.
Yes.
But it's definitely something we have to pay a bit more attention to, particularly if we are getting some aches or pains in the back or in the neck, when we're sitting, when we're standing.
What about when we're sleeping? Is there a better posture for the back, or is all the same whether you sleep on your side or on your back?
Yeah, I guess, we can't control too much how we sleep. But I guess the general principle would be to try and maintain a fairly neutral alignment of the spine. But whether people want to lie on their back or their side or their tummy is really not a huge difference.
Oh, okay. Because I reckon that, for people with toddlers and all that, they are still in time to try and train the baby to sleep in a certain position. Yes. But if it doesn't make a difference, then I guess that's kind of okay. But okay, when we look at the neck and the back, right, these are actually very sensitive areas, and I find sometimes that even when I wake up seemingly in the same position as I've always woken up in, I have like mysterious neck pain or like a stiff neck. How much is that related to the rest of the back?
Back pain would probably be still more common than neck pain, but neck pain is also quite common. There can be some sort of triggers that people find if they slept in some awkward position or something. The neck may be a bit sore the next morning. But as long as it's not a sort of a trend that the pain is there every day, becoming more progressive, more severe, because we all get some aches and pains on and off.
Okay. What are some of the more common yet preventable back conditions that you see?
I suppose, just literally back and neck pain would be the most common sort of symptoms that we get people coming to us. Another common condition will be, a slip disc, so people coming in with sciatica, and that would be probably the next most common sort of condition that we would see after simple back and neck pain. Right.
But slip disc, how does that take place? Like, how vigorous would you have to be to have that happen to you, or it doesn't matter, it's just somehow wear and tear and the spine just moving in different directions?
Yeah, a lot of times when we see people with slip discs, there isn't an obvious cause. Some people are very sedentary and they can have slip discs. Some people are very active, very sporty, and they can still get slip discs. I suppose it will be a bit more common in people whose jobs, if they involve a lot of heavy lifting or prolonged periods of sitting or prolonged periods of leaning over. So for those kind of things, it's obviously important to pay some attention to our posture and our bending or lifting techniques, etc.
Yeah, when we talk about bending and lifting techniques, what I understand is you do it, you bend at the knees, not from the back.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, but what about people, because we know that there's also which is a good thing, a lot of people getting more interested in being fit. So we see a lot of people doing yoga, a lot of people doing Pilates. Yes. Do you see an increase in the number of patients coming from doing that kind of sports?
Yeah, it's quite interesting. I've spoken again to a number of people recently. I've spoken to physiotherapists, and they do see people coming in that they can have injuries from various sports. So I think whatever activities we're doing these days, I think we have to be focused on a correct technique. So if we're in the gym, if we're doing HIIT training or doing some mixed martial arts, I think all of these things can be done well, or they can be done badly. And probably a lot of the injuries that we see are probably problems with the incorrect techniques.
Okay. So would you what kind of exercise that we can we do at home or wherever we are, an easy exercise that's easy but yet a must do to keep our back in tip-top shape?
Yeah, I think, there isn't any single sort of specific exercise.
Your favorite then?
I personally, I just pay more attention to my posture, and then when with my, when I'm bending down or lifting things up, and I try to just generally stay active, my overall kind of general health, and try to, do a few different types of activities to keep my activity levels up, and then keep the kind of our weight under control, keep our stress, all these things under control, because I think they all play an important role in preventing back pain also.
It's interesting, your holistic view on keeping your back in good health. It's not a single exercise, but in general, just moving more, sitting properly, and eating well, and being relaxed.
Absolutely.
Well, I'll leave you to go be, to take a well-deserved breather, I suppose, from seeing patients and the stress of being on air. So thank you so much, Dr. Colum Nolan,
okay, thank you
for
so much
speaking to us on MoneyFM 89.3. That was Dr. Colum Nolan, Senior Consultant and Neurosurgeon from Oxford Spine.